What up, what up, what up? Hey guys, Caroline. Welcome to another episode of Whatever You Say. So if y'all can please be patient with me as I pull this link up and share it on my page. Okay, so let's see. And I thank you guys for tuning in yet again to another episode, which is episode 29. Hold on, I'm putting this on my page. So if y'all see it on my page right now, make sure y'all share to y'all pages as well. I'm so grateful to have you join me again. And today we're gonna spice things up. We're talking about millennial dating. You feel me? And there's so many questions that need to be asked about it. There's so many opinions. And without further ado, let me just introduce y'all to my crew. Everybody, what up? What up? How y'all doing today? How y'all
What's
doing
going on?
today?
What up? What up? What up?
I just want to open up. I want to start with the ladies. I want to start with the ladies, and we're gonna start with Susanna. So state your name, tell us about yourself, and let's go.
Always got to remember to unmute. What's good, y'all? My name is Sienna, DJ Sienna Chanel, Miss Robinson to others. So, like I said, I'm a DJ. I'm also a children's book author. I'll say I'm an alopecia advocate. And I always got something to say. So it seems like this is the perfect podcast for me to be on.
Yes.
I hope y'all gonna be on my team. I just feel like it's gonna be like that. Y'all gonna feel what I'm saying.
I already be feeling what you said. That's why I had to have you a part of the crew, sis. Like I was like, hold on, we gotta get her up here because she's gonna bring the real. And let's give it up for Karita. What's up? What's up? Tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Querida Lugo. I'm a serial entrepreneur on several different companies, including a digital agency, a store, a boutique named Bohemian Noir. I also have a nonprofit called Self Society, as well as a styling company called Styling for Your Life. I'm excited to be here and might be a little jet lag on the West Coast. It's really hot over here, but excited to hear all the different perspectives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stop bragging that it's hot. Stop bragging.
Yeah, it look like you over there glistening, girl. You looking good. I'm gonna be where you are right now.
I got
And
my
yes,
little salsa moringa going.
and we have Mocha D over here. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey everyone, I'm Daya. I work in healthcare quality and regulatory management, and yeah, that's it about me. Just
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And oh, who we got over here? We got Mr. Intellectual Grump, Mr. Grumpy. What's going on with you?
What's up? I'm Mike. I'm from Jersey. I'm a contractor, and I got something to say here and there.
All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Who we got over here? We got Royal Oils Grooming. What's going on with you? State your name. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? It's Andre, the owner of Royal Warriors Grooming Company. Also, Mister, when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I do small videos talking about what I'm going through, but I know you could relate.
Period, period. And without further ado, we got Mr. Tyler Farrow. What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, family? First of all, thank you for inviting me here. Phrase. My name is Hakeem. I'm the founder of the Telefaro, which is a black-owned fragrance brand. We make fragrances of all types, all different personalities. Also have a motivational company, inspirational, known as Alpha Talk, which is one of the ways that Phrase and I actually have stayed connected, as well as some of the other individuals that may be listening. Been married for 5 years. Have a beautiful, well, I'm about to say beautiful son. Have a handsome son. Name is Israel. Um, on the move. I just have a love for people and love for God.
Period, period, period. And we just thank you all for being here. So like we gonna be talking about millennial dating. Are you guys ready for today's episode?
Romaine.
Oh yes. Oh, thank
Oh,
you. Hold up, my brother. Hold on. We got okay, so that must mean he must be the best for last, honey, because the girl messed up. Thank you. Thank you. D. So come on, tell us who you are. What's your name? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Romain Valentino, from Jersey, East Orange. Raised, and I'm currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, I'm a writer, author, poet. I work in healthcare. I work in marketing and public relations for the last 15 years. That's my resume. But my passion is like public speaking and motivational speaking, and I got a couple books and other projects and other things I want to get off the ground in the new top of the year. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Period. So my bad, bro. Oh my goodness, we've been talking about this show for the longest, and here I am. Listen, I'm nervous. I got a little jitters today, so as y'all can see. But yeah, let's get started with this show. We're gonna start off with the first question. We just gonna get straight to it, okay? And I'm just gonna be looking at people expressions and seeing who we need to pick. Maybe I might do an any, mini, money, mo. You never know. So the first question. Why do you think it has been hard for millennials to stay in relationships or married? Statistics show women are the first to end the relationship. Hold on, I see Sienna face. Sienna, let's see, girl, you give yourself a I give myself
I'm always gonna lose at this game. If this is the game, you always gonna pick me.
What you got to say? What you got to say?
I mean, it seems like to me it's just women finally have like options other like besides being married. Like we are in a space where you do care about self-care, your individual self and what you want to achieve as like an actual human being, not only focusing on being like someone's helpmate for the rest of your life. I just think it's just a different time where we have that opportunity. I mean, definitely it could be looked upon as like, oh, we're well, I don't want to go there yet. Don't take it there yet. Never mind. No, just scared. I think that yes, I think we just have more opportunity now. So maybe it's not on the top of our list. We're choosing ourselves over marriage, I'll say, at this point.
Hold on. What do you have to say, Andre? I don't know.
I mean, listen, I'm not married. I don't have any children. For me, speaking from a man perspective, I think that whenever you give a person with no direction, most people in this millennial state don't have no direction, right? There's too much stimuli coming at them. So when you give a person with no direction or too many options, they don't have no direction. They kind of just go in circles, right? They're just trying. I feel like this generation is a byproduct of the culture. This culture is a gig culture. I want to try it. Now I want to try something else. I want to try it. Now I want to try something else. So too many options, no directions. And you got to understand, I think the reason women are open to it now, because women have always been creatures of boredom. If they get bored, they get distracted. If they get distracted, men tap it. When women get bored, men get emotional, right? Because we understand that a lot of women currency is attention. And when their attention is off of us, especially when you're trying to be in a relationship, sometimes we get a little bit in our own way because we get off our purpose and more focus on why this person isn't giving us the attention that they may have. And like she said earlier, women have so many options and so much stimuli coming at them through their DMs, through Facebook messengers, through dating apps, et cetera, et cetera. So I just feel like the stimuli is heavy in this generation.
I was saying that because like you have more options in terms of like living your personal best life, like going after what it is that you want. You don't have to be focused on like just only being a wife. We have like extreme careers now. Like women are bringing in the most money, the most degrees, the most, specifically like Black women at that. So, you know what I'm saying? We have an opportunity to do those things. Yes, we have that is something else too, that we also have an opportunity now to see what's out there. That's never really been, I feel like, what women have the opportunity to do. I feel like men can sow their oats as it goes, and women have to pretty much kind of be like, I do want to date, but you can't date too much because now you know what you're doing if you're dating too much. So you got to kind of like lock it down. If you know what I'm saying? It's all of that. Whereas those type of, I'll say those stigmas are kind of coming off at this point. But all right, I'm done.
I seen a head nod from you, Hakeem. What's going on in your mind?
Oh man. So one thing, I'll just keep it real short and sweet. I think it's a lot of this team fall back thing that is happening in this generation because a lot of us have been trained how to stay in position even when it hurts. So when you think of, well, I'll just give you an image, right? And I'll just put something in your mind. I remember the few years back, it was a meme that I saw, and it was a astronaut in outer space, and it said, "My fall game back like this," and I started laughing, but then I was like, "Yo, it's really like that. Like people like they fall back hard, and it's like we haven't been trained how to articulate our emotions. So anything that reminds us of the past, instead of investigating within ourselves what we're seeing or trying to get more information on it, we could just fall back, we retract. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's hard for millennials to stay in relationships. And then the last part is there are some things that the prior generations, we are a byproduct of prior generations. And there's some things that we saw that kind of discourage us from engaging in what we saw. And we need a new model. So yeah, that's my part for now.
Okay. Coming from a married man, hopefully you can put on some more years to add to that 5 years. I see a smile on your face, Mike. What's going on in your head?
I smile all the time, mostly. I think the first question is complex, but I think most people agree. Individuals who come from a healthy two-parent household are maybe more likely to maintain a relationship. Also think that this idea, the new idea of liberation, which, and sometimes I may say is the term living your best life, it leads to like an impatience and kind of like I think people are quick to get into conflicts and things like that. And resolution is really not the primary thing. It's like, look, I need this. If I don't get it, I'm gone. But that first question is a little complex. The second statistic, speaking as an honest man, I believe that the reason why, if true, women are the first to end a relationship, it's a reaction to a man creating a fracture. I don't think that the primary thing is this new opportunity, because with the change in society, yes, women are working and more educated. I don't know if you're bringing in more money than men. In some groups you may, but overall speaking, there are a lot of opportunities that women have. Education, jobs, and things of that nature. But I don't think that's the reason y'all leave. I think if this statistic is true, it's reactionary. It's basically a woman leaving because of pain in a relationship caused by a man.
What you got to say, Sienna?
No, this is really funny because I can only speak for my friend female groups, you know what I'm saying? And we've all like literally sat and let men basically abuse us a lot in a lot of ways. Like we've been in a lot of scenarios where you sat and got kicked even when you were down by a man or men, multiple men. So when now it's like, do we stay and do we deal with that, and we should just stay because there's something there and that's what they did in the past. You just stick it out no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Or do you start to choose yourself? Yes, there's opportunity. There's more opportunities when you start to choose yourself. So I think it's connected.
Let's add something to that when you finish.
Yeah.
So you speaking from a place, and this is not personal, just generally speaking. You speaking from a place of pain. Generally speaking, that's kind of what I'm saying is that if you were ever married in a long-term relationship and you were lucky enough to be the one that chose to leave it, then again, it's because of something that the man caused. Because you just mentioned, being kicked down and being pretty much being.
No, because I'm just saying because normally it is. I'm not like it's no disrespect to men. I'm just saying normally it is. Normally, like the women that I know in my friend groups, we're there holding down, working, sucking dick, doing everything that we supposed to do to our man or whatever, and cooking food, all this type of shit. And then at the same time, you may be being abused in a certain way or not being loved on how you need to. The person doesn't understand you yet. You don't understand. It's all of this. So
yeah, that's what I said.
I feel like within that, we all have dealt with pain when it comes to relationships. I'm just saying that I feel like 9 times out of 10, the women are the ones that stay, even though they're not necessarily happy in the relationship and the person is not treating them right. So now we just decided to maybe like, I don't want to be treated incorrectly for so long, and I don't want to do that no more. So I'm gonna leave because I could do battle by myself. Like I just feel like we finally got that. That's all.
That's kind of what I said. You don't think that's what I said?
Yeah. So let me.
Yeah, I said that's kind of what I said in short form. If this is true that women leave, or the first lead a relationship is typically due to something that men did, creating a fracture. So I agree with you for the most part.
Can I add a piece?
Go ahead.
So, first of all, I want to definitely apologize to the women who have been hurt by guys in relationships. I've been one of the ones who have wounded, so I am a part of that group as well. But I just definitely want to address that. Like, there are guys out there that need to level up, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I used to be the type of guy who kind of depended on women for financial support. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was that guy.
Speak it true.
So I'm gonna say it right now, right? So I was that guy. I was the guy who thought I was fly. I was driving another chick's car, saying whatever, and I was being loyal. But what I'm saying is, at the same time, I still was kind of like leveraging that relationship for the materials, and it was because of what I was trained. And I'm getting at something here, right? So what I saw growing up was men being affirmed and being kind of accredited by the type of women that they acquired, what the woman had. If she had good credit, if she had a nice car, she had a dope apartment. It was always about what the woman had. It was never about what qualities and character the man had. Wow. It was always based on what the woman had. So me growing up with that mindset, I kind of adopted it. And it was only until later where I was able to get some different principles and values. But I definitely want to acknowledge that there are guys out here, myself being a part of that group at one part in time, where we don't know what that does externally. That's my piece for now.
Thank you for sharing that.
Let me add this real quick. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, being somebody that was married for 5 years, and I was very committed, and I felt like I gave my all in the relationship, and emotionally, mentally, physically. I mowed the lawn, I cleaned, I did this, I took care of my son. I did everything I thought I could possibly do at the time to keep my wife at the time happy. But ultimately it boiled down to, I felt like some respect was gone. There was a lot of communication breakdown, and ultimately it was just a lot of hurdles and obstacles and red flags that we probably both avoided early on that we should have probably paid more attention to and been more conscious of. So respectfully, I think that just being present with yourself and with your emotions and with, communication in the beginning of the relationship. What hurts you? What do you feel causes disrespect? What causes pain? What are your triggers? What are your this? What are your that? Because I opted to walk away from the marriage. It was me. I filed for divorce. It's too much arguing, I don't want to be 65, 75 years old in a nursing home, upset, mad at myself that I didn't live my best life because I stayed somewhere where I didn't feel appreciated. I stayed somewhere where I didn't feel wanted. I stayed somewhere didn't feel loved. Because we have feelings too. Women are queens, Wakanda forever, Umoja, all of the kind of
I'm so sorry. What happened? Oh my God.
Like I love women. Y'all run the world. Y'all do. Y'all powerful, got jobs, most degreed, most hardworking, educated. But at the same time, men have feelings too. Men work hard, men feel, men have emotions. And if I feel as an educated Black man that if I've avoided all of these hurdles and obstacles on the street or in the whatever corporate, all the things that we have to do to succeed every day. I've been at the highest heights in corporate. I've been at the lowest lows of everywhere else. So you come home and you don't feel loved, to not feel loved at home.
Yeah. Let me add this real quick though. Let me add this little nugget. See, it's a concept with men. It's a lot different. Like I respect women, and I respect brothers who date early. But what is your selection process, right? Most of us date what we want, not what we should. In particular, women. This is why your father usually picks the husband for you, because he's identifying qualities that you need versus qualities that you want, right? And so my concept with dating is this: every man should be on their purpose. See, you should not be giving your attention to a woman, because attention is what women are like. Women are super carriers. So whatever you give them, they want more. You give them sperm, they want a baby. You give them food, they want more. You give them a house, they want a big one. It's natural for them to want more because it's natural for us to want to serve. How many of us get money as men and can't wait to share it with our shorty? You make 10, 11 grand, you ask it, babe, yo, let's go eat, let's go do this. They make it nowadays. They're thinking more singular minded, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because there have been changes, as Romaine stated. Men are now expressing more of their emotions when they were more stoic. Women are more stoic when they were expressive with more in their emotions. So the culture has changed indefinitely for right now, right? But you got to pay attention. I personally am not a believer of men seriously dating until they're in their mid-30s, right? And I say this because we have stages. We got our power stages. Our 20s is our power stages. We want to fuck, we want to fight, and we want to think about our future and whatever legacy we have. But we don't have the knowledge. Our 30s, we realize where we fell, where we bumped our head at. So now we want to do things a little bit smoother and have the proper information and tell. Your 40s should be more turnkey, should be more wise, right? So nowadays, we're selecting more of the things that we desire and not understanding why we desire them, right? My grandfather used to tell me, I could have just ate dinner. He'll come in with some fast food. Yo, grandpa, I'm hungry. You only hungry because you see it. You wasn't thinking about it until it was presented to you. And once it gets presented to you, then the thing that you do have, you're looking at the flaws within it, right? Because once again, we have so many options. I think once you get on your purpose, like the sister said at the top, women are becoming more educated. Women are becoming more entrepreneurial, right? They're now deciding that they have a purpose outside of the home, which keeps their attention versus where they would pour it all into a man before. And I do think that men hurt, right? A lot of men hurt because there is no example of true manhood. We just, like, I know growing up in East Orange, North, I had a father in my life, and my mother separated, right? But they separated at an age where I was starting to really like girls. So now I'm following the community's guidelines on women, right? I'm not following my father or my grandfather, because even though my grandfather and grandmother still together, I'm not understanding that relationship because it's a little bit above my thinking. But I'm asking my homeboy who live around the corner on 17th, yo, you bag shorty, what's the deal? Right? So now that's my concept. But it's not until you go through relationships where you have to lose to win at the end of the day. So you got to fuck up and fail in order to move forward. That's the bottom line.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Can we get a hand clap? JB. Okay. But I want to get some answers also from Mocha and Carita. Carita, what you got to say, girlfriend? Hello? Okay, Mocha, you good? You got anything to add on?
I mean, I feel like they covered all of most of the bases because it's such a dynamic, such different dynamics in the question and in the answers.
Right.
I think like what Sienna said, we do have a lot more options as far as we don't have to depend on the husband, to open the bank accounts, to buy a home. It's just more of we want a man and we don't need a man. And sometimes some men who I don't think they're used to that yet. So that's just my 2 cents.
Great point. Great point.
That's it on
Nice
me.
point. Karita, we're gonna go back to Karita because I knew it looked like you wanted to say something, sis. What's going on? I think we can't hear you.
Unmute your mic.
Your mic.
It might be a mic issue. We're gonna bring it down. Let's go. All right, so we're gonna go to the next question. If you want to log out and log back in, Karita, we'll come back to the question for you too. So we'll keep that in mind. We're not going to keep you off of the question. So we're gonna go to some comments that are being said. So we just want to thank everybody once again for tuning in. Thank you so much. And we have a K Beasley. He said millennials have too many options, especially with the advent of social media and dating apps. People have no effort put forward in earning the attention and affection of a potential mate. He also said, all anyone needs now is to swipe left or right. That person is too slow to give you what you want, or you aren't instantly satisfied. The next. Let's see what we have here. I don't want to mess up your name, sis. So I'm just going to read your comment. She said that when it's too much and time to go. Toxicity is real, and generations before us stayed because they were taught divorce is not an option once you get married. Quadria on the queue. That's my girl Quadria. We just want to send some love and light to her. She's not on today's show, but hopefully we have her on future shows. But she's saying it's good convo. So my sister's still tuning in tonight, period. And then we have another comment saying it's good to hear men speak on what they realize they need and finding ways to express their emotions. Men emotions matter, right? We agree. We do agree that men emotions matter. Karita, can you hear me? Okay, she's gonna come back in and we're gonna because I do want to hear from her because my girl is a therapist as well. So there's a lot of things she didn't say, but that's one of her expertise. So I definitely want to hear that from her. We're gonna move on to the next question. Thank you guys for your answers. Do you believe in traditional roles? Why and why? Sienna, you again.
No, I'll answer. You don't have to go straight to her.
Go ahead, Daya.
So I do believe, I'm like a hybrid traditional only because of, the year I was born. So of course I grew up in a 2-parent household, and there were traditional roles where, my dad paid most of the bills and my mom paid, the smaller bills or, whenever she needed to. But I do believe if the man is doing what he needs to do, then the woman can do what she needs to do. But as far as being a team, I'm big on being a team. And I'm also big on outsourcing. So like me, for example, I'm going to handle it. But if I outsource it, that's just what I'm going to do. Like, for example, I go drop my clothes off and take them, have the laundromat wash them. So it's just, I do believe in traditional roles, like, the man brings home the bacon, the woman cooks them. But as far as in a more up-to-date role, like, I believe in partnership as well. So everybody has to play their part. It's not just one giving, one taking, or one doing, and the other is not. So I believe in a partnership within the traditional roles as well.
Nice. Who's next? Who want to chime in?
One of y'all married brothers talk about it.
Go ahead, Hakeem.
I definitely do believe in traditional roles. I feel like especially now this message needs to be kind of solidified based on the times that we are in. I do believe that it is the man's role to be protector and provider. And as the woman is more like the nurturer and comforter and other things as well. But there are kind of like, I would say like trees to that, right? So I feel like now, like there was some talk regarding like women making more money now, and that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I have nothing against that. My only thing is because like someone mentioned in the comments earlier that we have a society now where people just kind of like swipe left, swipe right, and they just kind of pick based on what they feel at the moment, we haven't learned how to kind of focus on being a better person because we're always trying to go out for something else. So we never learn, like, yo, Hakeem, are you even a protector and provider? Are you that? You know, like, do you know how to take care of a household? Do you know how to provide? Do you know how to take care? Do you know how to protect your family? So I believe now we need to understand kind of like what those roles are so we can start to measure ourselves against those roles. Because when you don't understand what your position is, you just go with the flow. You live your life just kind of like on a, I don't know how to say it. You just kind of live like kind of fluid, and you don't have any structure. And I feel like men kind of provide that structure. And actually, structure is good because it creates an environment where you can find out who you are. And that's the reason why like having 2-parent households is important. Like I'll just share this and I'm done. I'm gonna go a little deep. It's a little deep, just a little bit, right? So I'm not speaking specifically to Black women right now. Our Black women in America who are descendants of slavery have, how can I say this? There's generational trauma that's been passed down, right? So there is a certain perspective embedded in her DNA that causes her to see things a certain way. And it takes a man who understands this, who loves hard and is trained how to love, because love is not a feeling, by the way, different conversation. He gets trained how to love to help her heal through the process. So it's not just about what we're experiencing today. It's also carrying that burden from prior generations. So like the men need to learn, like, just to be honest, a lot of the guys now, including me being in that party, we were kind of soft. You know what I'm saying? Like
Moist.
I was,
Moist.
Very moist, very malleable. And just to be honest, right? And it took some processes. Like I speak to you as a person who tried to take myself out of here like 5 times. Like I speak to you as a person who didn't have both his parents in his life. I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. So like when I'm sharing all this now, this is not based on like something I read in a book or something I evaluated from the outside. Like this is stuff I lived out. I had to learn how to take care of a family, and I messed up. And I still, make mistakes from time to time, but I'm still trying to like measure myself against the roles that I have learned about, which, for me is the word of God, but that's my point right there. But just a word for the men, we need to know what a man is and what the woman is. And if we understand roles, then we can have a clearer perception of where we fit and how we measure up.
I want to tap in real quick because this is something I think about a lot. Growing up, my parents divorced in like middle school, 8th grade. And I remember being hurt by that. But then I also remember having my single Jamaican mother living on Harrison Street or South Harrison in East Orange. And just, the kind of the struggles and highs and lows that she had to go through, kind of just being independent and working by herself. My, not having my father in the home with me, I basically got a lot of my teaching or coaching from television, like Family Matters or Uncle Phil or Martin or Living Single or whatever, all of those Black TV shows. So when I got married and I had to do it for myself, there was a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know, I guess, the protecting part or this part or that part. So it's like a lot of trial and error that went with that process, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to grow with somebody to the highest heights of trust and love and affection and an immense pouring into each other, and not knowing how to actually do that or having a blueprint to that finish line is the hardest thing ever. It's like being in like Calc 5 or one of them hard classes in school. You're just like, I don't know. So a lot of times I walked into a situation, or even driving home, when you're in that deep of a relationship, such as a marriage, you pivot to the level where your wife or your spouse is at. If your wife is mad, you got to be mad with her. Like, nah, forget Keisha at work. She a da-da-da. I don't fuck her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you always got, if she's high, you got to go high. If she's low, you got to go low, pivot. And that's what I just tried to, that's what I've learned to do, is just pivot to to the level that my person is on. But sometimes we get it wrong there. Even with the pivot, you say some stuff wrong, you say the wrong thing. It's like, oh, my bad, or you just never know. So I think it's just about like being grounded with yourself, being patient with yourself, calm, humble,
Emotionally intelligent.
emotionally intelligent with yourself every single day, moment of the day. Like, how am I? When I wake up, I'm like, how am I feeling? What hurts? Does anything, like, do I need to stretch? Do I need to take a shower? Do I need to take a bath? Do I need to do I need to pray, meditate? So it's just really, really being more. I think that's what the young lady at the top is speaking of, is like being more tapped in, chimed in with yourself, burning stage and doing all the stuff that people do now. Take hot yoga and do what we need to do to really tap into our spirit before we bond with somebody else. You really got to learn yourself.
Heal too, because we don't take enough time to heal, I believe. And for myself, I chose to like get a therapist and like learn. I got two therapists. I got a female therapist and a male therapist, because the male was to help me to understand logic when it came to men, because there were some things that I was not beat for. And I'm just like, you know what? It helped me to understand. But then I had a strong Black woman therapist who taught me other things. So taught me boundaries. And it also had to protect my femininity and how I could still sustain that while still being an independent woman. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from. Karita, my love bug, can you hear me? Look, it's like we can't even hear you. I don't know what's going on. Let me see.
I loathe the term strong Black woman. I cannot stand that term.
I know.
I hate it.
I love it too, but I think that at the same time, like, I don't consider myself a strong Black woman, but she considered herself, and I do appreciate.
Oh, okay. As long as she considers herself.
Yeah, she considered herself, but I appreciate the teachings that
right.
I took from her, because it really helped me. Like, from her being that strong, she helped me to. Yes, I can hear you, Karita.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you. I can hear you, but
it's the reception. She's in Arizona, guys, so please bear.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Karita.
Can't. No sound.
It's like
your sound.
Try to come in through a phone.
Or like, if you have like your earpiece or your headphone, like the AirPod or something.
If you're using a laptop, you can also use your phone. So like, try to change the device that you're using. It might make it a little bit better for you.
I have a question response to Mocha, right? Mocha.
Yeah.
Mocha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just have a question. So you said you loathe that term "strong Black woman." Could you elaborate on that?
I just feel like it's so, I don't want to say masculine, but it's like, I don't want to be I don't want to be a strong Black woman. I am a soft flower. I'm, I am silk. I am perfume. I am, all things feminine.
Soft.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not a strong Black woman. Don't look for me. I want to cry on your shoulder. You can't cry on mine. Like, I want to be soft. I want to sit back and be pretty, honestly and truly. Like, I don't.
Let me say something, because that subject, I mean, that's a whole, and I understand.
That's a whole different.
I understand the reason why the term is necessary. I also understand why many people find it an aversion now because of but that's like so deep. But I want to touch on this traditional role thing. I want to try to stick as close to the question, because we're talking about a lot. All this stuff has webs, but I want to stick as close as the question. I'm kind of, if we define what we mean by this, if we're saying traditional as in a woman cook, clean, take care of the children, and a man go work and take care of the family, obviously we're in a different time, so we can't really. Traditional roles cannot exist alone. So I'm more of a hybrid. I took care of myself for a very long time. I'm recently divorced after 24 years of marriage. Before I was married, I cooked, cleaned. I do everything for myself. I've been self-sufficient. So I never needed a woman, at least in my independent years, to do anything for me in that regard. And so going in my relationships, I had no demands like that. As I got older, and for instance, I joke a lot that if you ask a woman today on a date, hey, do you know how to cook? I joke this, but I kind of mean it in a way. They may say, do you pay bills? So the roles as far as traditional roles, I just think that there's so much going on today. It's like everything is kind of offensive. Everyone take kind of offense to things. So for me, if a woman know how to cook, I can appreciate that. If I'm in a marriage with a woman and she's gainfully employed, I may pay all the bills, but I would appreciate if she say, I'll take care of the electric bill. If I go on a date and I take you on 5, 6, 7 dates and you end there, you say, hey, look, you know what? I got you today, baby. I can appreciate those things. They're not needed, but it is something that is one of my, like we all have our things we value people for. It is, if a woman would cook, because I know how to cook myself and I like doing it. But I think that we can't expect any woman to have that traditional role anymore, especially a professional woman. And I don't know if we can really expect men, because there's certain roles that have never changed for us. We still expected to step on the outside of the street and get hit first. We still expect if someone jump out, we expected to die first if that's the case. So there's certain roles for men that will never change or is not part of the discussion. But I think this is another one of those questions that's like is really deep. And I would say personally for the question, I'm a hybrid. I'm a provider, but I have grown to be open to a woman showing some traditional qualities, like making me a meal or something like that. Maybe even taking me out here and there, because I do so much that. One of the things I do not want, though, is a traditional needy woman, a dependent woman. I don't want that. A woman, especially today, who needs a man to take complete care of her, especially if she's not willing to be that traditional woman.
That's the only way that makes any sense whatsoever, what you just said. Like, it only makes sense if she's not willing to do the other stuff, because that's what y'all want, apparently, is for her to do all of the other stuff. So,
I don't know if you want it. I just think it's fair trade. It makes sense. If you're going to be in a house.
I get that. I'm not no qualms. I have no qualms at all with traditional. I think that everybody should do whatever is best for their personal relationship, honestly. You know what I'm saying? But I understand traditional roles. Sometimes that works for some relationships and the relationship thrives. That's amazing. Sometimes you do have a relationship where both parties have to work. So it would be helpful if the man helped in certain areas and picked up a little slack in some places, because she's also working 40 hours a week too. I'm saying, like, there's you know what I mean? And it's all of it combined. So I hear you. I think traditional roles are completely fine. I think that, if there is a scenario where the wife just so happens to have been a person that, wanted to fulfill herself and had a career as a doctor or whatever it is, happened to make more money, decided to date a man that wasn't making as much money or more money than her because she actually cared about him, you know what I'm saying, and decided to be with him, okay, so maybe she might have to work because she's going to be able to maintain the lifestyle, and maybe he might have to stay with children. I just think it depends on the scenario, the circumstance. Every relationship is different. You know what I'm saying? So you have to match up and be. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I'm sorry if I forget your name, but they said it earlier. You got to be honest from the beginning. You have to say all this. This is about communication. You know what I'm saying, from the very beginning, and about what it is that I'm willing to do and what you're willing to do. What I'm not trying to do, what you're not trying to do, and then maybe we can meet in the middle on some places. Obviously, because you have to compromise in any relationship. So I'm not against traditional roles. I know I don't have a problem being called a strong Black woman, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also not against traditional roles.
Sis, we're not saying too much different, but you did start off. We're not saying we really not saying too much different, but you did start off by saying what I said. The only way it made sense is that last part, but then you agreed to everything I said. So we said the same thing in general. We said the same thing. It's to each his own.
I never said that we were against each other. I'm just saying, I know, I guess I could give off the vibe that I would be against traditional roles, and I'm totally not.
Not against, yeah.
I'm for what works.
Sure.
And I think things are situational too. I think things are situational. Like, just to give you an example, like, let's imagine that the guy, when he meets the woman, let's say that she is already successful. She is the doctor. And let's say the guy he's not working, right? But he's working on a business and he's building, he's actually doing the work. Like, he's not just at home sleep. You know what I'm saying? He's actually doing the work. And she comes and she kind of invests into his business. And for that season, for that time, he may be the one just kind of, like you said, taking care of the kids and cooking and stuff because he's working on a business. But there should be a shift eventually where he goes back to being like that, more of the provider. So I do feel like there are situations. It should be all about teamwork. It should be customized to every relationship. There's not like you get what I'm saying. It should be customized, and times and seasons change. So
can I add something to that?
Let Karita. I'm gonna let Karita go because she didn't go yet, and we got her voice, and then we're gonna go straight to you, Andre.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I would say, in terms to when it comes to this question, I would say, one, we need to define what traditional roles are. We can't assume that everyone defines traditional roles the same. If we're talking culturally, if I'm dating someone of the Maasai tribe, how they define cultural roles and traditional roles are completely different. So one, I think that we have to find what definition that we can put in, how we can put that in a category for whatever relationship that you're in. In addition, I would say I believe more so in natural roles, not necessarily traditional roles. And that goes to what you all have been saying. Like, sometimes you have to switch, you have to adjust, you have to move. Like, one might have to take a pause. Somebody might lose their job, and that person might have to step the opposite. Naturally, we make a shift. I believe that we need to function in our strengths, right? So I don't want to be maybe someone who is in charge of the finances if I'm terrible in finances, because traditional roles say that I should be in charge of the finances. That absolutely doesn't make sense. So I think, one, you have to also realize who you're coming in union with, right? What are they bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Being honest about that. And how does that traditionally look for y'all? How does that work for y'all? Naturally, what can you do in your situation to work out from your strengths? And it might look traditional to you, and because we do have to consider that we're coming from two different backgrounds. You might have grew up in the same area, but your family structure is different. So your tradition and traditions and what traditional roles for you might be different. I came from a single parent home, and the things that we did in that single parent home are traditional to me. And the woman is supposed to do this, or in the absence or in the presence of a man. In some homes, and this is an example from one of my dating experiences, is that I was taught that you serve your guest first, not your man first, if you have a guest. So but in the home, if there's kids and your man, you serve your man first. So my definition of that was completely different. So I think that conversation needs to be had, how you define tradition, and I believe in natural roles more so than traditional roles.
Dre?
I agree. Communication is key, but when we talk about traditions, we understand that traditions change, right? Everything evolves. We understand the natural order of life is adapt or die, right? So even in relationships, when you're dealing with tradition, I think the key thing is the plan. I think when you're getting together, women choose men based on the plan that the man has for the life, right? Is my plan a part of, can you see yourself fit in this plan? Is this a plan for you, right? Those are the conversations that you had. You have to have some type of idea where you want to go personally, right? Because what I've noticed, I've dated a lot of professional women, like, corporate women, lawyers, principals, things like that. And what I find is a lot of them are not traditional in their way of thinking in terms of consistent home keep and things like that. They're more so experience based, career driven. So what they want, they have their own ideal of what they want. So when dating women like them, when you come in, you got to be like, yo, listen, I'm an entrepreneur. This is what I'm on. I get my money this way. I remember dating a girl. She was an executive for like one of these big companies, and one of her first questions was like, yo, what are your financials? Now, I didn't understand. I'm like, yo, don't clock my money, because I'm not from that. You know what I make, right? But I understood and I respected it. But I also knew that wasn't for me. You feel what I'm trying to tell you? So we can maintain a level of mature friendship, but me dating you seriously, I'm not going to do that, because our approaches, what we want ultimately is the same, but how we're getting there is different. So you can't serve two masters. We have to be on one accord going forward. You know what I mean? So when I think about tradition, I think about adaptation, evolution, and I think about a plan. Those are the new traditions.
And culturally, what, like you said, the girl said, what are your financials? In certain cultures, that's the first question, because nobody wants to waste anybody's time. And
absolutely.
So that's culturally, that is kind of like the first question. So
but
I get it.
Let me say this. I also understood, because she wanted to take me seriously. She liked me more than I liked her. So she wanted to get to the, hey, listen, this is what she told me, I make 185 a year. What do you do? Because this is what I want. Oh, yo, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to share that, but I do well. But where my money goes, see, you may want to say my 185 needs to go to status. She has a nice home. She has a nice vehicle, right? She wants vacations consistently. As she said, she wants 2 vacations a quarter, right? So me understanding that I'm that same type of person, that's not what I need. I need someone who, yo, this is what we doing. You want to ride? I'm in the driver's seat. You my navigator. I told you what the plan was. Help me get there. And at any point that you want to get off the ride, or you know what I'm saying, you want to opt out the plan, respect, because I still got to do what I got to do. And most women think they think that way as well. This is like a very new, I can't even say new, but it's a very prevalent mind state when you're dating the professional woman. Because traditionally, our women were trained, and I'm talking about Black women, we were trained for large families, because we were getting a lot of our finances came from our labor, our work, our capabilities with our hands, and our capabilities to be, to have large families, to do things as a collective. Nowadays, we're very individualistic. We're driven more, because America is a corporation. We're driven with transactions. This is what I want. This is the status I want to obtain. And how do you fit into it? So I think traditional roles have adapted, but this may be the mindset for the next 30 years, and then the 30 years after that, it may be a shift in tradition.
Okay, let's get to some comments. That was real in depth. It seems like I had each question gonna take like an hour. But I'm enjoying the answers. Let's go back on some answers here. Let's see. Well, Dr. Love Jones put a few comments here, so we're gonna put one of his. I believe some traditional roles that work, but as I believe some traditional roles that work, but as time changes, so should tradition. But at the end of the day, it's based on level of femininity and masculinity that's in each person. Let's see what else somebody said. Someone says, I believe in partnership. We work together, pick up the slack. I handle the things he's not good at, and he the things I'm not good at. Oh, okay. Let's see what we have here. Dr. Love Jones said, strong Black woman is what?
An effeminated woman. That's funny.
I know about Paul for a second. The Sienna look like you got something.
Do that together.
Okay, Dr. Love Jones, it's a different time. We work together and be a team for the both of us. Cooking, cleaning, and working is called being an adult. It's about having each other's back, building each other up. Let's see what Eric got to say. No one wants to talk about the uncomfortable things in life, but that's what people need to start doing in order to heal. And if a couple is having problems, they should work it out and talk it out, not cheat. Somebody said natural goals, not traditional goals. Well said. Okay, Karita, you got a fan. Bro was speaking facts. Okay. And somebody else, hold on. Somebody said something for Karita. Karita took the cake and drove it home for me with her rendition of natural roles versus traditional roles. I needed to hear that for myself. This is what this show is about, guys. We have some very educational people on this show, and this is a learning experience. Each one teach one. Everyone has their own perspective on life, and that's what it's about, perspective. Not saying yours is better than the next, but find the person who fits for you, okay? And don't put somebody down because they're not your type, okay? Let's see what we have going on here. We got a scenario. Both have gainful employment. Do you believe bills should be split 50-50? Let's try to keep it as short as possible. Let's go.
No.
What's your percentage?
I mean, I think that if a man can, he should pay all of it, right? But check it out. With that, the hard conversation has to come. Be right? Because it's like, okay, look, I'm gonna pay all the bills, but what you gonna do with your money? This is what we need, right? Because I'm not raising it. Well, some people say when you're dealing with a woman, you have to give her proper instruction about what you want, what needs to be had in order for the relationship to be good. So if I'm paying for the provisions, then you have to be paying for the pleasures. You see what I'm saying? Because most men, I don't know about, I like to travel, but I don't like to travel as much as women. I like to really work. I like to make money, right? So most of the free time is spent entertaining a woman, right? Aside from bills. So what do you want to contribute to that? Because what I'm not going to do is I'm always going to make sure I'm good, right? So if we living in the spot, even if you're not here, I'm gonna have to live here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on me, but I'm not gonna let you slut me out. You're not about to be running around. I need boxes. I need socks because this rent $2,500. That insurance is this, food is that. Nah, you need to go. I want a nice pair of whatchamacallits. You go grab that for me. You know what I mean? And once you put those, once you make those demands or those requests, you see if she rocking with you or not. Because I'm making sure that when it rains, it's not on you.
These are whatchamacallits, honey.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, grab them for me, because that's not. I'm looking after us. That's the protection. That's the provision part. You know what I'm saying? So, but if like somebody like Sis said earlier, who's smoking, I can do bad by myself, right? I can do bad by myself. Now it's going to be points where you may have to go 50-50 for the come up, but that's where the plan is. That's where it's like, look, lady, I know you don't want to pay the bills, so this is what I'm trying to do. And you make real dates, 60, 90, 100 days. Like, I'm going to take over 70% of the bills. You make small increment jumps so that you can become the man and learn to be the man that you want to be. Some of us aren't taught that in the beginning. Now, me, that's why I say I wasn't seriously dating until my 30s. Because your 20s, you don't know what you don't know. So don't waste your time. You know, if it's going to be that, because there's nothing you could really do in your 20s mentally. For me, some of you guys was married in your 20s. I respect that. With me, I understood that there's levels of growth that I have. From my background, okay, I grew up this way. I don't have the emotional capacity to care for someone. I got to learn to care for me first. I was raised to be the leader, the alpha. If y'all know me from back in the day, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like, you raised to be a certain type of guy. So now I don't have no sisters. I got 5 brothers. So how do I know how to understand where you coming from? Get your shit together, tighten up. I don't want to hear that because I don't have time for that. So it wasn't until I had to break myself down and say, okay, you know what? This is what's required of you. And then society also paints a vivid picture of what's required to keep or maintain the type of woman that you feel works for you. Some of these corporate women who make 6 figures still don't want to pay bills when they get with a guy, right? So it's like, okay, Miss 6 figures, I want to go to Bahamas. I want to go to Bermuda. I'm going to take care of everything. But in the process, show me love. And that's it.
Any ladies want to chime in?
I think that you have to look at the structure of the relationship, right? So when we were talking about if the person you're dating is an entrepreneur, right, and they're coming in and they're building, you see them things, and maybe they can't handle 50%. I think you have to consider, the structure of that relationship. Me personally, I'm gonna allow the man to set the tone, right? Now, what he said, if he can provide it, I'm gonna follow the lead. If it agrees with me, if I feel like that's something that I'm gonna do, I don't mind paying 50%. You're gonna get your 50% anyways. You're gonna get more than 50%. You're gonna get emotionally 50%. You're gonna get you making sure the house is taken care of, different things from me. I just comfortable. I see a man going to work every day, doing what he has to do, and then me just collecting and reciprocating back in some type of measure, whether it's not monetarily, but also other ways. We both have to eat. We both have to do other things. And if traditionally he feels he needs to pay all of the bills, then I'm going to adjust into a natural role that I feel comfortable based on that structure, which is, okay, well, I'm going to make sure that he has X, Y, and Z. You don't have to tell me about a trip because I'm going to naturally say, listen, I see my man stressed out. I'm going to surprise, we're going to go on a trip. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to really appreciate what it takes to get up and go to work every day. Not to say that I'm not getting up and going to work every day. So I think that when you're looking at that dynamic, you're looking at the structure of bringing. Now, if I'm working, long hours and he's working long hours too, and he's paying the bills, okay. Again, I think, like he said, where's your money going? How is that contributing to us? I think that it's only fair that both of us be able to also save. I think it's only fair that both of that you are mindful when someone is putting out financially constantly, grab that meal once in a while, make him lunch and take it to work for him, or pack the lunch for him or do something special to show that we appreciate you and it's more than money. Because also if the lead is only money, then he might feel like that's all you need him for. Go on and
there you go.
Look, we see the guys. Look at the guys. Look at the guys. Look at their heads.
Because she kicking that shit. She know.
Well, listen, she talking.
That's why I have to read it.
Talking that talk.
On the show
That's
too.
the state of mind. This is the state of mind of the type of woman that would draw me.
Absolutely.
It's all about our type, right? I don't want a dependent woman. See, the thing about today is that we talk about roles. We talk about all these different things. So my issue is that as a provider, I will provide, but I don't want anyone who not today, that feels as though I'm supposed to. Especially if they're not coming with something, like she said, simple stuff. Make sure I don't feel bad.
It's simple.
But do it not because you feel as your role, but because, like what she's saying, it's only right.
Yeah.
Appreciating it.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree.
Plus, it's part of our masculine miseducation too. I believe today to be a man, I feel you're supposed to listen. If you know how, I'm an entrepreneur. I know what it feel like to work hard as hell. And my ex-wife was a professional, right? I know how to see a woman working, right? And she, as a professional, I carried the big bills, the mortgage, and which was significant, and she paid electrical and stuff and little small things like that, but she did it because that's her nature. She just felt is only right. So,
I respect it.
and plus with the family, you know, we have 3 beautiful children. It's a lot more that come with a relationship, like she said. If you own homes or a home, you benefiting off of that too. It's not just about like the 100% or 50%. There's so much more that come with it. This question, when asked, generally speaking, became one of the questions that's annoying to me. Not related to this conversation, but we condensing what we're doing, it seems like today, amongst the other things, we're condensing the significance of a relationship into questions.
Bills.
Bills. Yep.
What happened to like the executive woman? I would, if a woman lead with how much I'm making, first of all, you should be able to see how I'm living.
Yeah.
If you have the privilege to. It could be simple things that really don't make it matter. What kind of car I'm driving, where I'm living at, what job I got, how I carry myself, what type of things I buy myself. You have to be able to at least start off with something. Because a man can lie, a woman can lie. But if a woman leads with financials, she ain't the one for me. Because the relationship seems to be, it seems to be like it would be based on intangibles. What if she lose her corporate job?
And it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
So
I watch
it's like,
it happen. And they be
absolutely. But what she's saying, the approach that Quadria,
Corrida.
the approach that you're taking is a very modern, reasonable, reflective. I don't want to just throw the term educate out there, but a critical thinking approach to this. Because I can never imagine meeting a woman and like, man, supposed to take care of me. I can't do that.
What happens is, a lot of times, especially right now, how job security is security, right? We're disposable, Right. So when you have a man that you solely or a partner that you solely depend on financially for, and that's how they contribute only, right? They don't have to exercise emotional intelligence. They don't have to exercise it in different ways, throw this money at it, what happens, when they lose their job, when they lose their job. Sorry, sorry, it was negative. So when that happens, and they lose their job mentally, how do they contribute? How do they contribute? Their confidence is shook. And how do you support someone that traditionally would, that would be their contribution? Situations where on their job and, they're seeking, validation to feel important now in a space where they didn't feel value outside of their financial portion. So I think that we have to be careful with that. Are you, do you have all that money that you're saving, as the not the main person that's paying the bills? What is happening with that money? Is it in a rainy day fund? Is that to support or a dream to ensure that, if this job falls through, are we invested properly? Are we putting it somewhere that my man doesn't have to work the rest of his life?
Right.
I'm dependent on that, or kids are depending on that sole income to provide for everything. That's setting everybody up to fail, honestly, because someone can be here today and gone tomorrow. I depended only on paying all the bills, and I'm kicking back, chilling, and I don't have any contingency plans. That is a failure for the whole family.
Right. I agree. Let's see if we have any comments coming in, guys. Great answers. We got here. Okay, so we got Kay Beasley coming in again. I want my wife for me, preparing for her. I had to do the work and still have to do the things to be ready for her already. Not getting there. I recently bought a home because I need somewhere to put her in. Here it goes, to put her in. To put her, I pay my entire mortgage, taxes, utilities, etc. on my own, and I can comfortably do so without help. Are you looking for a wife? Because it seems like that's what he's doing.
That's what he's shooting that shot right now.
I would love to help.
He's on his shot. He's on a dating app.
Well, you know what?
First
Stay tuned, guys, because we are doing Shoot Your Shot Saturdays coming soon. So, like, please stay tuned. We are doing that. So I'm looking for some singles. I just wanted to put that out there to you all. For the ones that are single, just let me know. We're going to do Shoot Your Shot Saturdays coming soon. So okay, I would love to help, but ultimately, both of our incomes are still going into the same pot, our household and lifestyle. Okay, he is going in. Let's keep going. This is always welcome. Her making my house our home is one form of payment that is expected. Hold on, he got one more.
Wait, give him a t-shirt, y'all. Give him a t-shirt, whatever you say.
Love interest and I are as comfortable outside when I pay or take her places the same when we are in house and she pays me and my love language physical touch. Ooh. A lot of guys like physical touch. I'm learning that a lot. Like when you ask a guy what's your love language, the first thing physical touch. But that's I think that's a normal thing. So let's go on to the next question because let's move along. I'm going to skip one of the questions because it says, should a man expect a woman to do household duties and still work full time? And I think that's something we kind of tapped into. So I'm not going to go into that. But let's go into this scenario. Does seeing your mother work hard as a child mean you should as a woman? And or do men expect their significant others to do the same from viewing their mothers do so?
I want to tap into that because my mother was a single mother for a long time, and seeing her cook and clean and wash dishes and do all those domesticated things around the house, even when my parents were together, and coming from a Jamaican home or culturally background, those things were just deeply rooted in me. So when I became an adult and I became a husband, or even just as a single person, it molded me. So when I was on my own, I knew how to cook, I knew how to clean, I knew how to do things and stand on my own two or my 10 toes and just really be independent. Like the gentleman in the corner said, he knows how to cook, he knows how to clean, he's very self-sufficient. So when you're talking about a spouse or a partner, it's basically creating two hemispheres and bringing those together and creating that fusion of dopeness together. Like, how can we make this work financially, spiritually? Can we watch Netflix together and chill? Like, can we really just chill together and be in each other's space and really not be bothered by each other for long periods of time? It's just about matching energies at the end of the day. And sometimes that's hard for people. Sometimes it's easy. And then the cancel culture, we so quick to cancel, so quick, delete. My block list is crazy. So it's just from mistakes or whatever, drama or whatever. But we gotta unpack why we do things, and that's where I think a space that I was in, or maybe still in, is just what's the root or the cause of why we may have made certain mistakes, or even after my marriage, I had to sit with myself and say, what could I have done better? Where could I have spoken better, listened better, humbled myself, really humbled? Could I have been a better father, husband, just everything, because it drove it. Certain things drove us apart, but then the magnetism that kept us together for 5 years. There was some dope moments. There was a lot of dope moments too. It wasn't all bad. I always praise her for being a great wife and a great mother when it was good, but then when it was bad, it was bad. So at the end of the day, we have to really sit with ourselves and see what's going on internally, spiritually, mentally, why we, even our trauma, our pain, even loss of life, physically and metaphysically, theoretically, some people die and we lose that, and that hurt, that trauma from the hood and growing up and seeing people one minute and then the next minute, we bring that into relationships and the hurt and loss and pain. So it's just a lot of things we have to unpack before we really get into serious relationships.
Not to cut you off, but what I'm saying, in regards of the question, is seeing your mother work hard, taking on so many roles, like a single parent, seeing her working hard. It does, do you expect that from your significant other because you've seen your mother work hard? So you expect your wife to be a hard worker too, be a hard worker doing the same things your mother did. Now, if your mother is a single parent, Like, who's to say that she had no choice but to just go into go mode and do what she has to do as a mother? You know, so that is the ultimate question. But a lot of times we see these women and we make it look so easy. I have a single parent home. I have a son. So yeah, I make it look easy. I'm sitting here doing entrepreneurial things, working 10-hour shifts, got my baby on my lap at times and things like that. So at the same time, we make it look good, but it's like my son got to eat. I have to take care of these bills. I got to make sure there's a roof over his head and what have you. But do I ultimately want to be doing those things? No. I do it because I can do it, but I ultimately don't want to do it. I don't want to feel, I feel like that then, because having that, being in that space, it can cause me to walk in a more masculine role. And it's like I'm losing that. I can find myself losing my femininity if I'm not working on it each day and things of that nature. So that's where the question kind of comes from. But I get where you're coming from, but it's like basically watching your mother, like women are, because we're watching our mothers do this, do we have to feel like we have to run the same race as them? And men, because you see your mother doing that, so you have these expectancies of your woman to do the same, and not knowing that she had no choice but to do that. You think she's gonna sit there and watch you starve?
Now I don't think men like, who want to go?
No, you go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like, okay, so in regards to that, I mean, if I'm with my significant other, she not working like my mother because my mother was single. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm there. When you look at like when my dad was in the house, my mother wasn't working. Like, my mother kind of leisured around. You know what I mean? She would just pick us up from school, made sure that, put it like this. I always say my mother. My mother is the reason I read well. My mother is the reason I'm inquisitive. My father was the reason that I'm disciplined, I'm hardened, I take responsibility well, I'm accountable. But my mother was all those other things. So, but I seen my mother work hard with my brothers and I, as far as like, yo, homework, sit down, you go and read, you get up, I'm calling your father, like constantly be on us. That was a task. So yes, I would expect my old lady to work hard like that. Like, yo, listen, make sure that my kids know this is, put it like this. This is what it was in my household, to kind of touch this. When my
He's coming back. This is getting deep.
Check the mic. If I got the
Right.
Check your mic.
We can't hear you, brother. There you go. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad. So like the way it went in my household was like what my mother said went, what my dad said was final. They had a plan. So my father worked hard outside the house. My mother worked hard inside the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yes, I would expect that if we have children or you get to live like my mom lived. My mom made sure the crib was clean. She made sure that we were picked up. If we called out from school sick, she had to come get us. My father wasn't doing none of that. And my mom, she had 5 sons. So yeah, she was extremely busy. But that type of hard, I think, was her natural hard. That was what she was supposed to do. And she worked hard at that, like my dad worked hard at building stuff.
But what is the scenario when a woman has to take care of 5 children or take care of children and still work a regular job? So she still has to maintain doing the same things you said, picking a child up, taking them to doctor's visits, dental visits, whatever it is, and still in all work a regular job.
She shouldn't have to. She should.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the answer. Like, you're saying that she shouldn't have to. Do you expect your significant other to do the same?
No.
To work and take care of the kids singularly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, while being in the same household, do you expect her to still work and still take care of the kids while still having you there?
Okay. If we have no, I'm here.
Right. He's saying something different. See, the question is, this the beauty about these questions. It's kind of not specific. The only thing we have here is work hard. So he kind of brought one of those angles.
I like that. Yeah.
So now your question is more specific now. Now there's more
Well, it
specific.
opens up. The questions are to open up
Right.
the discussion. It's
Right,
going
right,
to
right, right.
wait until you can broaden someone's horizon. That's the part
Right.
of asking the question. I didn't want to be so specific, but then it's
Right.
like he's teaching us too. Like, okay, a woman is still working hard, but in this aspect, she's working hard in the house, and that's what a lot of women don't mind. I don't mind to stay home, take care of the children, make sure I'm. That's a job in itself, you know. So
Yeah. And he also said for him, Andre, that that's not going to be, I guess, his case, or he doesn't expect that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I
So
would
that's why I said the
say
question
that.
became specific, and I can answer for him that he wouldn't agree with that.
right.
And I
But
would
you know
say,
what's interesting about this question? It leads me to this. I know that you know how men who work hard, and you know, it's always looked upon great when men work hard. Now this is generalized and kind of going to his angle. So I'm not talking about a man who working hard and cooking and all that. So I'm not saying that, but most men would say they seen their father worked hard.
Right.
So in a case like that, specifically, because I don't know if this was the man, and I'm just injecting that as like, in each individual case, I guess depending on how specific it is either a pro or a con. But if for what you're saying, if a woman have to work, once a woman have to work like a man, everything changes. Like, I mean, like again, me cooking and cleaning and all that, that was something that came with me in a relationship. There's certain things that come with us when you, as a person, right? You call me, I'm a generous guy, considerate, I'm pre-thought. So there's certain things come with us. So me, in that case, I'll be taking the kids to the doctor when she can. I'll cook, I'll be cooking and stuff like that. But I like the angle he put, because in that specific case of, if we're going to call that working hard, it was a direct benefit where she was like on top of the kids and stuff like that. That was a great angle off of the question.
I would say that from the question was, more so me seeing my mother work hard. It made me set my own expectations for myself, but then I have to examine how those expectations play a part in what I select and what I attract, right? And then, so based on seeing my mom work really hard, I work hard, so I don't want to have anybody that I'm going to put on my plate. I don't want to put more on my plate than I need to, right? Like by having someone who doesn't work as hard or doesn't value hard work, right? Because nobody wants to put anything on their plate that doesn't taste good, right? So at that point, my expectation is that I don't want a lazy person that I'm partnering with. And so that's what I kind of got from that question.
Right. Okay, let's move on. It's going to be a two-part question. Where we got 3 questions left, and this is going to be a 2-part. So it said, it is stated due to women working more, taking on a single parent home role, and many other factors are causing them to take on a more masculine roles in society, thus causing issues in relationship. Is it possible for a woman to maintain her femininity with these scenarios? What can a man do to help her?
To speak to what Daia said about being soft, like a woman, I think a woman naturally wants to be soft, but society as a whole hardens them because they have to take on so much. They for one give birth, run the home, they working, they're paying bills, they're doing an immense amount of things, especially if they come across a partner or a spouse who they don't feel steps up to the plate or is not adequate or sufficient or maybe intelligent enough in some ways to take on some of those responsibilities, because some men structurally just weren't taught growing up. So a lot of times they don't step up to the plate because they just don't know how. You can, like the saying says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But sometimes the horse don't even know where to go to get the water. Like, you don't even know. Like, he's like, yo, I don't know. So a lot of times we some guys go into things like the young lady at the top said, she's been hurt or traumatized by some relationship, and those guys were unfit for your type of love, beloved. Those guys were unqualified for you. They're not on your level. And I think women mature faster than men by nature. Y'all growing up. We playing with Tonka trucks and GI Joes blowing shit up, and y'all playing with house and Barbie dolls and mother. So from day one, y'all already 5 years ahead in terms of taking care of the house. And then when you get to like high school, college, the real world, it shows on paper because y'all already about y'all business. And then sometimes we playing catch up. Some of us are playing catch up. Some guys are on there about their business, on their team, and they doing what they got to do. But other guys, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Any other guys want to chime in? What?
I think the way men help women in this scenario is be on their purpose. Like the question, because I can only see part of the question now.
Yeah.
But
bring the other one up.
I can only see part of the question. But if it's a woman working full time, most women are already conditioned. Listen, I remember in college, they used to say white women go to find husbands, black women go to get degrees, right? And so the conditioning is, we don't want to be waiting for nobody. We want to get our own. Now, getting your own comes with masculinity because you out here killing like we killing. You competing like we competing. So it's going to form you into a killer. You're going to have hard end ways because you out here competing for resources in the same fields that we are. Nothing wrong with that. But I think that a man who's on his purpose, his purpose should be to be a man. Being a man comes with, in my opinion, it comes with leadership over a domain. A domain being your family, your wife, taking care of that. So I think because for me, especially dating, like going to college, dating college women, and they want to work. It's just now like nowadays, they like, damn, this ain't what I thought it was. I'm kind of tired. You know what I'm saying? I've seen my people do it, but it was a different dynamic when moms was doing it. Now we're in the forefront of the business. We're at the top levels. We at the seats. That comes with a different level of thinking. That comes with a different level of it comes with a different attitude. Anybody who knows what it's like to compete at high levels, you know that you got to be shrewd. You take that home sometimes. You bring that into relationships. You can look at the dynamic between a mother who didn't go to college, who was a housewife, and her independent daughter. It's almost like, Mom, why did you do that? And the mom looking like, I wish I could be that. But then the roles switch later. Because that masculine frame keeps you masculine for a while, and your expectations become, in my opinion, more like a man's expectations. When that's not the natural order of things, in my opinion.
I agree. But generationally, with white women, they have an option basically, and
yes,
we don't. So we have to go out and get the bag because for some families, we are first generation college graduates, and we are first generation 6-figure earners and things like that. And so for a long time, you do have to, I guess, be in this mode of get into the bag or being, I guess, in the masculine space, because in corporate world, it is not fair for us at all. We cannot, if we don't express emotion, we're being mean. If we don't smile, we don't see enough of your personality. Oh, I want to see you smile more. Like, speaking from personal experiences. So we don't get the option and that's just that. And so now, as a single woman, like in order to make
It's coming in. Start over. She's gonna come back in because I want to catch what she was saying. All right. In order to what? Oh, she's gonna come back in. We was getting somewhere. Anybody else want to say anything?
And say, as far as action items, what I'm do to help take action, be consistent, be honest on what they can provide. Whether if you can't provide emotional, or if you can't provide this, be honest. You are bringing to the table, and exercise introspect. You have to really self reflect, and understand yourself more, and whether that means you need to seek out therapy, understand your triggers and traumas, and assist in lightening the see someone, running all over town, going to pick up from appointments, and coming in, start dinner, do something simple. That I think that these are a couple action items that you can do to just right away.
Right. I like that. Karita, what were you saying, D?
Oh, I was just saying, in order to maintain my feminine energy, is just I don't really entertain anything where I have to be an aggressor in outside of work in any form. I like if I have to be masculine or feel like I have to be an aggressor or the leader, I just don't entertain it.
Mm-hmm. Period. Period. And guys, I know it seems like we're it's all about the ladies right now, but I just want to change up the subject and kind of like um ask this question: what are things women have done to make a man feel emasculated? This is a learning experience. We want to
They
listen
know
and
what they
out
doing.
here. It's each one teach one. We like women. We have a voice, but men are definitely a part of this show. I really want you guys to have a voice as well. Black men, we care about y'all. We love y'all. We honestly do, and we want it to be just reciprocated the same way. And listen, it's just we're trying to learn each other. I want people to get out in this world and just learn each other, and that's how we can be better as just a race, just as people in general. So just share y'all experiences if y'all may.
Which one of y'all brothers want to go first?
So I got a whole
All right, listen. Look, obviously, these are for the record. I do feel we weren't involved in everything because every question still involved us in one way, and we was able to still express our opinion. But this right here, um, the first thing I would say is aggression. A woman who have strong, or a woman who express her emotion in a highly aggressive way, be it a loud voice, in your face, anything that's outside of feminine approach. And to me, just to be clear, so no one misunderstand what I mean by feminine approach, I don't think a woman need to be screaming, hooping, and hollering. Maybe not even a man either, but I think the feminine approach would be, I would prefer to be in a situation where women know how to be calm, collect, while I'm losing my mind. And hopefully I follow her lead and calm down. But I think this thing right here is the number one thing is women who are highly aggressive, verbally and physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, I can speak on this for days. That boils down to just toxic culture. Like I think the word toxic it's overused and overexpressed in our generation. But I just feel like lack of regard for respect or effort or mutual love for one another, once the foundation is gone, or maybe it wasn't even established from the start,
Mm.
that's the root or the core of why y'all together. Physical attraction is one element. Intimacy is one element. The real respect and real like what brings y'all, can y'all have a conversation? And what I call it is a coffee table conversation. If we can't solve a problem under coffee table circumstances like this, we don't need to talk about it. Let's table the conversation, step away, and come and unpack it later. Come back to it, spin the block, come back to it later. Then we'll be cooler heads prevail always. Hot heads never. We can't be terrorists talking to each other.
Mm. Go ahead, Sienna.
Can I say something? So I think this is kind of relative to the last question as well. It's like just the flip of it. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right. Mm-hmm.
but I'll say this for myself, right? Like I didn't really have examples of like what it meant to be in a respectful relationship, let's say that, until I dated a man that was raised by both parents.
Mm,
Where I actually learned how to be more like communicative and be able to express like emotion in a calm way when emotions are heightened. Let's just say that. So from it's practice. So in terms of like um keeping your femininity even when you still have to be masculine. Like I'm a DJ.
yeah.
I think that's pretty masculine. You know what I'm saying? So most men are DJs. Always normally only men. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever, whatever. Most of the places I am are predominantly men all the time. So I have to. I feel like that's also just kind of a part of like my upbringing at this point from being from single family scenarios for generations. Let's say that. So like reigniting your femininity, it
Mm,
takes work. And I
mm,
know Sister Karita said something about introspective work. It takes a lot of introspective work
I
because you
agree.
have to realize that you have a block there for whatever
Right.
reason to begin with. And then like from failed relationships, like interpersonal skills, you start to realize, what I was told for many years that you get more bees with honey than with
Honey.
vinegar. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way and a method to it, and it just has to be practiced. That's all I'll say. And
I
I
agree.
only, I only brought that up because I'm certain in past relationships I've been far more aggressive or so on and so forth. However, I mean, it doesn't make it okay what I'm about to say, but it is the truth. Most of the times that I um, did respond in that way or couldn't keep my own personal like self control was because I had lost some level of respect for this person or didn't have a level of respect for them to begin with. It's not an excuse. I'm just
Speak
saying
your
that's
truth. Speak your truth. Go
just
ahead.
how I felt inside myself. So I felt like it was okay to be disrespectful to this person now. I
Mm,
felt like they were disrespectful to me in whatever way,
right.
so I feel like I could be disrespectful in return. I'm not
Right.
saying it's okay. I'm just saying my
No,
experience.
no, it's your truth, and
But
it's a
I know I'm
beautiful
just
thing
saying
to
because I
say.
know like, it's not the side that we want to choose to say that we've been a certain way in our lives previously and then
Right.
we have to work on it. You know what I'm saying? But that's something that I had to live through, like
And learn from.
exposed to, then
Right.
experienced, then lived through, then decided I no longer wanted to be a part of. So
Period.
you know
Mm,
what I'm saying? In terms of like with a man that I have a level of respect and adoration for. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole horoscope stuff because that's another blah blah blah. But I feel like I can be a little colder on the outside. But if it's me and this person particularly that I respect in a particular way, I have no issue with being submissive and not speaking to them in that type of tone. But you are gonna get like my personality regardless.
mm,
So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like that is the part of it in terms of like sometimes it's just the personality or just the whatever. Like, and that's something that you have to understand whether you could deal with or not with another person. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like that's just getting to know a person and saying like, all right, I like a little edginess, and some people don't
Right.
want it at all, and that's totally okay. That's why
Right.
it's somebody for everybody, I'm sure. Okay.
I agree because like I met, I was in Texas recently, met a guy there who has a wife, and he said that his wife is a little crazy, and he said he kind of like that. Like, and there's certain people that like certain type of people. To each his own. Like you just gotta see what's for you or whatever. Just make sure it does not turn so toxic to where y'all gotta get restraining orders. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
I
curious
know, Raisin.
Yeah, I
Um,
got.
uh, here, um, particularly from the women. Once you realize that you have did something to emasculate your mate or a man, what do you do to correct that, or address?
you said what would you do to correct that or address that?
Yeah, what did you do to correct that and address?
Well, for me personally, it was just realizing like if this is somebody that I say that I care for and that first of all, every human being deserves respect. Let's just say that. That's number
The
one.
dog gets
That was
agreed.
that was something that is something alone that I had to be like, okay, there's no reason to do that. Then it took a lot of introspective work for me, understanding like my tone, the way in which I'm relaying things to a person, just how I want a person to talk to me. I have to do that in return. It was just me deciding that I also didn't want to be in those toxic scenarios, I would say, where I felt so disturbed in my peace. You know what I'm saying? So I hear a lot of people saying like you shouldn't just give up so quickly and cancel culture and things of that nature. But I feel like when you when you're with a person and you have an interaction with them, you already kind of feel it like, all right, this is going to work, this isn't, and then I don't want to really waste as much time with trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. So I just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? We already argument. I've been in scenarios. I don't know about y'all in dating, but I've been in scenarios with men where we just instantly are bumping heads. We just instantly argumentative. We may be attracted to each other. All of that. To me, wiser heads prevail is like, okay, I've been there, done that. Like this person, we're argumentative, but we're gonna try to work it out anyway because we like each other, or we for whatever reason are we're attracted. That doesn't really make sense.
Right.
So for me, it's like, all right, we don't really match up in these ways. That's cool. We can be great. We could be friends possibly, but we need to move on in that way.
Right.
I felt the brother when he said the thing about being like peaceful with a person, being quiet with a person, being all of that. Like you need all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't go towards the negativity anymore. Let's say that, and that's the difference. Is that I decided that if this is not something that I want to deal with, if it's a constant argumentative scenario, if I'm constantly just feeling like I'm being swayed off of my square for whatever reason, then this is probably not a place for me. You know what I'm saying? Like we probably don't match up.
Yeah.
Y'all guys got anything to say?
Yeah, I definitely have. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Now I'm waiting for y'all, man. Y'all brothers go ahead.
Look, they said we all want to say something about this.
I was saying that that's powerful, but what I've found in my personal experience is that there were certain traumas that I didn't even know about my spouse's previous life prior to me, that I found out later and probably a little bit too late, that I would have possibly been able to pivot or kind of steer towards or lean into in terms of her trauma or her pain. Or like the young lady at the top said, if you have a long history of trauma or pain or damaged relationship and you go into a new relationship, you may bring those in there with you because you still got that same baggage. We're in our mid-30s now. Everybody got kids or trauma, PTSD, EBT. We all got whatever we got, whatever we got with us now. And it's up to us to kind of facilitate those things with a person and really humble ourselves and say, okay, this is all of me. Here's all of you. Can you accept all of me and I accept all of you? And we move forward respectfully. Like, you know what I'm saying? Respect, with respect, communication, love, dignity, honor. Like, all of those things that it really takes for the foundation to be strong and wholesome and peaceful. Like peaceful. I don't want any more yelling. I don't want to yell ever again in my life, ever. About nothing ever.
Exactly. I don't mean to like cut in, but that's really it. Like when you have been a part of, I'm sorry, my dog is moving around the back. When you have been a part of like traumatic scenarios and it's just always argumentative and it can become physical or it's verbal, like I don't want any parts of that anymore at all. So that means that I can't, if it even begins to feel like we can't have a conversation about something simple that we just possibly don't agree on. Like it's like a lot of this. I'm gonna gracefully bow out because I just don't want the energy anymore. We gotta be able to talk because I don't want to be traumatized any longer.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why people run away, because immediately the minute they feel a red flag or the tingling of anything from somebody previous, but somehow, some way, we're all gonna remind each other of somebody and some type of personality trait or something. We may something, but I think that's a part of the cancel culture, because the minute we smell like, oh, he blinked like my ex, I'm out. I'm done. So he sneezed away. That's a wrap. Doogies and
I can't say that for myself. It's not that. It's really just those those emotional like trigger scenarios. Not like, oh, he reminds me of, or he's like this, or like nah. It's really come to a place where it's like I just don't want drama, none of it. Especially with a person that I'm choosing to be with. That's just like relationships, marriage, all of that is so deep to me. Why? Because it's a choice. This ain't family. This ain't nobody you gotta work in an office building where you don't have no choice that they in the building with you. This a person that you decide on, that you want to spend time with, your personal time outside of everything else. You want to combine lives and bodily fluids and everything else with. It better be peaceful as fuck. Like I need it to be extra peaceful because that's what I want personally. I need peace for me. So I need
We gotta be honest with our role we play too.
That wants peace too. He want to have peace too. That's just.
I wanted to say something really quick. So in regards to this question, this is so good. Like, so I'll say this first, right? So I'll share a personal testimony really quick in regards to masculinity. So prior to me discovering more about myself, and I was dating, I would see this pattern of the women that I wanted. They would usually be attracted to guys who I felt were more like the bad boys, right? And they would be attracted to what was labeled the bad boys. And the guy, I was more like nice. I was soft spoken, a little bit more relaxed, calm. And what happened is those women that I really wanted back in the day, in my mindset at that time, they weren't interested in me. And I'm like, what's going on? So back then, I was taking it as it was something that was, I was just too nice for him, just to be honest with you. But I didn't realize that from an emotional perspective back then, I wasn't a person who was communicative. I didn't articulate my emotions. I was very withdrawn, very shy or whatever. So what I had to learn is that there are certain traits and characteristics that certain women kind of deem as masculine. I had to learn that. And it wasn't until I started to learn certain specific, like, for example, posture. Like women like when a man walks with his shoulders back, right? Another thing, women like when a man he doesn't cut corners, he's straight to the point. I had to learn pretty specific things in order to learn what masculinity looked like to a woman. And to be honest with you, it wasn't natural for me at first. I had to literally learn it. And I think that, a lot of the guys now, they don't understand, including myself, they don't understand exactly how to be the best man that they can be sometimes, because it's like they're always modeling what they see. Like, for example, if you didn't have a father in your life, which I didn't really have a relationship with my father, so I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. Fortunately, there were other men who stood in the gap for me. But what I'm saying is, like, you have to have those conversations with a young man so he can know what a man is. And when a woman has had a relationship with her father, her uncles, men who really held it down, and she compares it to what she may have, which is a man who may not have those characteristics, sometimes they subconsciously start to disrespect him and see him as less, because he may not be providing, or he may not be protecting them in the way that they were done in the past. So, like, for example, there was a situation. I'll share a real quick story and I'll be done. My wife, her father is a very, very, very disciplined and very straightforward when it comes to protecting. But me, I never really saw that. I never really had anyone to kind of like protect me. So for me, my form of protection was coming afterwards, like, hey, like, you good? After the thing already happened, you already bleeding, but I'm coming after you and trying to like touch the wounds. But you like, yo, I need you to come there. So I had to learn, no, like, your wife, she needs you to come there. You need to be present. You need to run. That is what she sees as protection. But because I didn't learn, like I said, those specific things, I had to learn the hard way, through trial and error.
Yo,
what you got to say, my brother?
Okay.
You.
Andre. You said what?
No, yes, I'm waiting for you, brother.
Oh, yeah. See, the question is, when the woman is undermining, over talking, not listening, those are the things that are emasculating to men, because those are the provider and provision qualities, right? Anything that deteriorates the natural order of the thing is emasculating. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you an example. I had a situation one time with a young lady that I'm dating, right? Her car got towed. It was a mistake on her complex. She wanted to go down there and spaz, but it was two men who owned the spot. I tell her, yo, don't say nothing. I'ma handle it. Now, her face and her tone said that she wanted to spaz out, but she didn't. Now, if she would have, that would have been emasculating because that was a situation that I'm going to take care of. Because I know that you stepping into that with the way you feeling, you're going to say whatever and try to conduct yourself however amongst men, and that may not go well. So my job is to make sure that it goes right. But when you tell them that don't seem like they want you to punch them in the mouth. And the thing is, hey, the reason I'm telling you to talk this way because I'm strapped. They run a cash business. I know they strapped. This could lead to murder. So let me figure it out before you go in there. Now, if she would have did anything other than that, that would have been emasculating me because that means that you took over the masculine role at the wrong time when the man was there. But everything else that they do is just that's what they do. The only time you could emasculate me is if I'm present and you playing my role. Right. That's it.
Okay, so we're hearing from the men. Let's see what we got one more question, guys. But I want to go to the comments because I know a few people have been commenting on what is being said today. So we're gonna go back. We got. Let me see. We got. Okay, I think her name is Taria. I don't want to say the name wrong, sis. So it says, I saw my mother work hard inside the home. My father worked hard outside the home and make sure we was good. For me, I want a partner that works hard, but I don't like depending on anyone.
See,
that's what you were saying, Dre. Okay. And then we have Frank. It says, the question is, where does a woman learn her femininity? And also, was she protected as a child or a young woman by her father? Here is where the common characteristics developed. And what else is being said? Let me see. So many women are familiar with being independent or the lead when an engaging man arises with real thoughts, plans, or contributions. Her autopilot still doubts him. Okay, let's see. And she's saying, damn, that's true. There are times when you must call the person out gracefully and love so they no longer hurt themselves. If everyone treats their partner with love, respect, empathy, sharing, caring, openness, relationship will last longer. That's kind of going off of what Romaine was kind of saying. Let's see what's back here. So we have one last final question. This is for you guys. What can a woman do to protect a man's masculinity? Now you said that you didn't want us being loud. That's
not protecting like kind of what my brother said. It's not a man. It doesn't affect his masculinity. The problem is that masculinity doesn't allow him to tolerate that. So a woman who I'm making a point of a woman who aggressive and stuff like that. It's my masculinity why I'm not tolerating that. There's a certain level of respect. So what a woman can do to protect her femininity is don't do that.
Yeah. You know, there's a saying that goes, soft words turn away wrath. And I feel like when in a relationship, there is going to always be an adjusting period. There's always an adjusting period. Like if you put oil and vinegar together, you know, pretty much they're going to separate. But if there's a special mechanism, you use it for enough, they'll actually become one. So pretty much like there's a process, there's an adjusting period. And I feel like women and men, well, just to answer this question specifically, I don't think a woman can, like you said, really protect a man's masculinity. I think she can protect him. But as far as his masculinity specifically, I feel like that is something that, like, in agreement with my brother up there, I feel like there's things that she can do to protect him as far as his peace. Like, for example,
Right.
if you can't communicate at the time, like if you're too angry to talk about a specific thing, write it down. Write it down. Like, there may be certain things, like you may not be able to say it in words, but sometimes if you write it down and you go old school, like they used to write letters back in the day. We got away from that. That stuff actually helped people stay together. Whole different conversation. So writing things down, sometimes it forces you to actually formulate your thoughts. So I feel like one thing women can do is learn how to like just pause for a second and say, where are these thoughts coming from? Because some things, like, it could be your wound talking to you. And another thing is, I feel like women should not assume that a man knows what's in your head. That's another thing. A lot of times it's almost like our women will expect us to read their mind. There should be as you're together for a long period of time, you should understand certain things, but we shouldn't be expected to read your mind and to know exactly what you're thinking. And it's like sometimes the woman will start to get aggravated and frustrated because you're not doing something that she imagined, but she doesn't know that you don't know that. So it's like assuming, like we're not in your head. We're wired differently. We think a different process. We have different ways. So I feel like communication is key, but it has to be done like my brother said, Frank one. It has to be done with grace, empathy, and you got to understand at the end of the day, communication is a two-way streak. It's not just one party; it's both. And something else that was put out to me is communication is not what's said, but what's understood. You can say one thing, but the person may interpret it a different way based on their experiences, their wounds, and everything. So this is the reason why patience has to be the foundation of every relationship. So like, for me, like, I don't like to yell. I don't like all that arguing and stuff either. I'm more like, I just like to relax and chill, have a good time. But I understand at the same time, there are conversations that are not so sexy, and it may get a little elevated emotionally, but it doesn't have to be elevated outwardly where it's craziness and yelling and screaming and throwing things.
Anyone else?
So what he said, as far as the interpretation part, I had to learn myself, because usually when I speak, I say what I mean, but everybody does not think the same. So I had to understand it, or have to understand, still working on it, that people, like, I'll say the sky is blue, but they'll interpret it something. And so in my head, I'll probably get an attitude like, how did you get that? But then I have to take a step back, because they think everybody thinks differently. So I have to actually watch that with myself.
And I personally believe in, like, now that I'm older, 37, learning more about horoscopes and love languages and trauma, and going through some things that caused me trauma, really every day being on that same wavelength or frequency with your person, having honest communication at all times. If, not going to sleep angry. There would be some times in my situation where we went to sleep, or we had an argument in the day, and she'd be asleep, and then I'm up still mad looking at her sleep, and I'm mad, and I'm like, yo, I can't believe she's asleep, and I'm upset at what we just talked about 20 minutes ago, and she's asleep, and then I'm watching First 48 mad, and she's asleep. So I can't, it's like, that's what it was, just like having those differences of opinions and not being able to settle it before you go to bed. That's very frustrating, and that's a horrible feeling. Experience that over and over.
In regards to the question, I would say learn your partner, learn their temperament. Me personally, I won't, and I don't like this happening to me, but I won't correct my mate in front of people in a way that is chastising and belittling. So I try to have like a little plan, like a public plan, right? Our public plan is, I give you that touch on your
a little nudge.
That look, that little wink, like, okay, we might have to go for a second, or corner where no one's at, or sit in the car for a second and de-escalate or get back on the same page. Because you don't want the outside to see, that there's, a place where they can, get in there and cause chaos, right? Not to say that you're going to present your relationship as perfect, but it's a relationship, right? And a relationship is between you and that person. It's
Right.
not, for everyone to participate in.
Mm.
So for me personally, in a way I could protect my mate, my partner, is to learn them, learn their temperament, make sure that, when we're in, settings, that I am, communicating with them, some type of code that we have that make sure that I'm not belittling them in public, and then in private, making sure that I'm listening more than I am speaking. I need to listen to what is going on and be able to take that in and not have my wall up, right away. If I can't communicate what I'm trying to communicate in a tone that listening can take place and you can actually hear me and comprehend my heart's my heart's desire, or what I mean, I shouldn't really have the defense up so hard if I really think that this person that's in my life is well for me, right? I should, the base be whatever is said, whatever they did, that I hope that I selected someone that I know that they genuinely care about me, and I am going to take this initially as a misunderstanding and then go from there, and use that as the baseline instead of purposely did something to hurt me, and so then I'm coming in aggressive and hot-headed.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Humility is always going to be like, I feel like that's like the most important principle that can be implied, as far as the woman with the man, and vice versa. Is not just the man, the woman to the man. I feel like humility is always going to kind of keep you in a good spot when you kind of realize that you don't know everything. The guy doesn't know everything. We're trying to learn everything about each other, but it's through a process. It's kind of like, there was a principle that one of my mentors has shared with me that really transformed how I communicated with women. And he said that, he said, what happens if you take a crystal and you throw it on the floor? He said, you know what happens? The crystal pieces are all over the floor. You can't pick it up and put everything back exactly the same. So that he said, your words, when you communicate to a woman harsh words, you curse at her, you call her names. It's like you're throwing a crystal of her on the floor, and those pieces can never be recovered. Of course, she can forgive stuff like that, but she never forgets. She never forgets. So it's kind of like, for me, I feel like when a woman understands how to communicate, stays humble, I feel like those are the two main things. I feel like you'll always be in a good space if you stay humble, stay teachable, and communicate well.
Mm. Ladies, anything before we close out? So I just want to thank everyone for being on today's show of Whatever You Say. I'm going to go down a row and let everybody say whatever they want to say before they close out, and tell the people where they can find you. We are going to start off with the ladies once again. Let's start off with my girl, Sienna.
You can't hear you. Mute.
Yeah, can hear you. You're muted.
Okay, try that one more time. Thank you, guys. Once again, DJ Sienna Chanel, I appreciate you so much. Phrase, sorry, I don't know what you go by.
Lie now.
My bad. My fault. Thank you so much for having me. It was a dope conversation. If you guys ever need a DJ, if you need a children's book, if you want to get some shit I'm talking about too, check me out on Instagram. That's at Please Miss Robinson. Please Miss Robinson.
Peace. All right, let's go, Carita.
Okay, thank you for having me. In general, let's be mindful and take accountability of our choices of who we select to be in our lives. And as far as me, you can continue to follow me on Instagram at La Querida Tana. If you need website, logo, branding, hit me up.
All right, let's go. D.
Thank you for having me. I'm very low key when it comes to social media, but what I want to say is you can give grace and still stand your ground and create boundaries.
Yes, and let's go, Dre. We're coming at you.
Yeah, Royal Warriors Grooming on social media. RoyalWarriorsGrooming.com is the website. We do cocktail and conversation hours. We travel, so we'll be in New Jersey and New York very soon. So yeah, you can follow us at Royal Warriors Grooming.
Yeah. Let's go, Romaine. I see you out there.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? I appreciate the opportunity. It was very insightful. And I just want to say, like, I think the goal ultimately is to focus on the solution to all situations. And I could be found on Facebook, Romaine Valentino Lynch, and on Instagram, Romaine in Real Life. I look forward to building and growing my businesses and brands and public speaking and having a dope 2022 and 2023 and on. So let's keep it rocking.
All right, Hakeem, let's go.
All right. Well, thank you for having me again, Phrase. It was a pleasure speaking with all of you. I learned something from each and every one of you. My last word. Oh, well, I have a perfume company. Follow me at the Farrell. I do custom consultations as well. Last thing I'll say is this: give yourself grace. Know that you are loved, that you are appreciated, and you're not expected to know everything. It's one day at a time. So just celebrate yourself one day at a time.
Yeah. And let's go, Mike. Mike.
I mean, intellectual underscore grump at the Instagram. What I'll say is just for the ladies too, who I've watched and who's here. We're not saying, especially when we talk about aggression, that you tolerate a man that's screaming at you and abusing you and not holding their business. We pretty much just, I think when I speak, people who know me know I'm speaking from a point where, I think I'm generally a good guy. So I'm speaking from a point where I got all my ends covered. I'm not speaking for the guys who don't take care of their family. I'm not speaking for the guys who verbally, physically abusive. Never speaking for them. They exist. They deserve their voice. But when I'm speaking from a point of view, I'm speaking from a point of view of us fellas out here, there's men out here who pretty much handle our business.
Respect.
But it was enjoyable, man. It's my first time doing a podcast, man. So it was good, man. I appreciate that for the invite.
No problem. And this is your girl, La. Once again, y'all can find me at Pillow Talk on Instagram. That's my name. Hit me up. Y'all know where I'm at if y'all want to be on the next show. And I appreciate you guys for being on the show once again. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Whatever You Say. And it's whatever you say. Later.
Later.
So